на нашому каналі на YouTube. От, власне, якщо у вас будуть якісь питання, ви можете їх задавати, можете писати в чаті, можете піднімати руку, ви можете так само писати питання українською, ми їх будемо перекладати англійською. Якщо ви хочете сказати, ви можете включатися, ми будемо допомагати вам перекладати. Якщо щось не зрозуміло, так само можна зупиняти. Тому, якщо в колег ще є якісь пропозиції, щось сказати, то ми можемо починати. Пані Віолетта, Марта, Діана.
Вітаю всіх, я дуже рада вас бачити знову після довгих, скажімо так, канікул, де ми не відпочивали, але мали багато роботи в інших проєктах. І зараз розпочинаємо знову нашу серію онлайн-зустрічей, і я щиро рада бачити Діану. Діана Бонезіва, ми використовуємо. Діана – одна з найкращих фахівців з питань якраз фандрейзингу в сфері діаспорних організацій. Я тішуся, що вона змогла з нами сьогодні нам виділити час, і передаю відразу слово.
So, Diana, the podium is yours. So, if you need some assistance, let me know.
Okay. So, hello to everybody. Добрий вечір. This is a great pleasure to be here. And I really appreciate that you made some time Wednesday evening. You know, for somebody, Wednesday evening usually is a little Friday. So you would rather relax and do something else. But you are here for work. Or maybe for some of you, not only work, more than that. So I really appreciate that you wanted to meet me and have this informal, as I understood, and very practical session. And I would make a kind of introduction at the beginning, would present you a little bit of agenda, what I'm going to share, and then I will open the space for questions. So please, I have 3 very basic rules. Interrupt me if you think I'm too fast and I speak too speedy and I'm deviating from the subject that you are interested in, because I might share some information that is not so relevant for you and you feel that you need to clarify. As well, I make a disclaimer. So I work for EU Global Diaspora Facility. I will present the facility, but this is like just how we do work and what are our procedures. So this is not the European Union. This is a project funded by the European Union. So my disclaimer is that I'm going to share the experience that we had with the capacity building, and then I would take up your questions like from the experience we had this up to 3 years. And I'm very happy to see familiar faces. Violetta, that's a great pleasure to reconnect. I'm happy that we have a kind of occasion today to discuss about other things than the unfortunate situation ongoing in Ukraine. And I think we have to now focus more on how we can do more and make some changes in the country and to turn this energy into the positive change. I don't know how do we do. Should I stop for the interpretation, Danilo, or there will be times when you will intervene? So what is the deal?
I think it doesn't matter, but
so should I go on?
I'm just using double account, so I have like echo here. So no, I think it not necessary to have interpretation now. When someone have questions, they like raise their hand, and then I will help them. I will assist.
Okay. So anytime you think I'm too fast, please interrupt me from my monologue. I don't want to be the teacher that takes a monologue. I want to be a colleague that can share some of the experience that you can ask. Okay. So that is the rule for today. Okay. I will share my screen because I prepared a little PowerPoint presentation. I hope it will. This will guide me. So I'm trying now to share my screen. You will tell me if you see. We did a check, so I hope everything is. I'm always afraid of this technical thing, you know, that when I'm in a real meeting, I really can present everything, but when you're online, you're always dependent on this. I don't see
I think it's just like nowadays situation, the typical situation. So everything is okay.
Yeah, we have to adapt. So I shared my screen. I don't see if you see it.
No,
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay. How about now? Second try?
Yeah, excellent. We see it.
Great. I'm trying now to do the full screen so that you can see it better, and tell me if when I move the slides you see it, so that we get over this technical part and can move on. Do you see now my screen still with the full screen slide?
Yeah, I think we have like the same problem, or someone like see full screen. Let us know, guys.
Yeah, please raise your hand if some of you do you see. If not, then I will keep the smaller slides. It's fine.
I think that smaller like slide will be fine.
Okay, good. So my name is Diana Ginku. I work in Brussels. The project that I represent is called, as you see from the screen, European Union Global Diaspora Facility. Danilo already made a very nice introduction. In this project, we work with Diaspora. So from the title, you can see that it's only diaspora engagement, our focus. It's a project or a facility funded by the European Commission. And it's the first one, actually, a pilot one funded by the European Commission. But we have a few disclaimers here. So first, we are global. We work with all the countries in the world. But we do work with diaspora that are coming and are based in Europe. So basically, we would work with any diaspora coming from Eastern Europe, from Latin America, Asia, Africa, whatever, but they should be based in Europe. And secondly, the focus is development. So we do rather work with development projects when diaspora want to somehow contribute to the development of the country. And this is the agenda that I'm going to share with you today. Like, very simple, as I said, I will present a few criteria that we use when we select our interventions. So we do offer capacity building for diaspora organizations. And at the moment we have 15 micro projects, and we organize 3 calls for applications to get to the most relevant. So I will present how we do the selection, what are our criteria, what do we expect from the applicants. I will share some tips and tricks for writing applications, like why we refuse some applications and why we accept the others, why some are more relevant and feasible than others. And I will also have the wish that we have this practical talk where I would ask your questions and I can answer in a practical way, so that we see how we can really submit an application to a facility like ours, and also to share some of the experience that we had with Violeta in the past. So when we launched the call last year, we got an excellent request from Global Ukraine. It was focused on local entrepreneurship. We wanted very much to implement that. It was a yes from the Commission, but unfortunately, due to the situation in the country, we had to close it. So I think this is a great opportunity where I can share with you how we work with Violeta to shape that intervention, how we do implement other projects, so that you have an idea what we expect from the diaspora organizations and professionals, and also some of the challenges that we had, like why, for example, one application was not selected by the Commission and EUDiF. So here you see that the project started in 2019. It's until this year. We had so far 3 calls of applications. We received and worked with around 100 applications so far. We have a very strong selection committee where we do make a 2-step evaluation process, how to select the most relevant for us and for the regions. And I'm leading 2 operational components, as you see from the screen, the purple ones, with building capacities, and with the green one with promoting diaspora development expertise. So we recruit sometimes diaspora professionals for development to do like very targeted projects and very concrete ones. Here you will see on the screen, I hope you can see my slides that I'm moving them, right?
Yeah, we see everything is
Okay,
all right.
great. Because I don't see myself and I don't see the so that's why I need to make sure that you see the information I'm presenting. So here you'll see that we have two mechanisms. One is called Capacity Development Lab, which from the title you can understand it's something that we pilot. So we do pilot approaches on diaspora engagement, and we work here in the Capacity Development Lab with diaspora organizations and with governments, local authorities, central authorities, public institutions. And in the other one, the second with the green, which is called Diaspora Professionals for Development, we work with diaspora experts, so with individuals. We do engage them, we contract them so that they can share their expertise in development sectors. And these sectors are kind of entrepreneurship, education, environment, digitalization, health. So this is to give you like the short story of the long one, what we are doing, and the fact that we are now running 15 projects and we have a very diverse portfolio from all over the world, and the fact that we have 3 calls for applications helped us to understand a little bit how and why diaspora organizations are applying for capacity building. So here on the right corner, you see the criteria that we use for selection. And I will go into details, what kind of criteria we use, how do we count them, what is the percentage for each criteria, how we do understand that the diaspora organization, when they apply, they fit the criteria that we expect. And then I will go into more details of what kind of support we do offer and some tips and tricks, how you can make your application more feasible and to fit the criteria that we have in EUDiF. Of course, I'm talking again about EU Global Diaspora Facility. To make a side comment, EU Global Diaspora Facility is implemented by an international organization. We are called ICMPD. If you heard about us, if not, I will share the link so that you see more details if you are interested. So this is an international organization which was contracted by the Commission to run this EU Global Diaspora Facility. Now we are talking about an expansion. We do hope that the results from the first phase and the Commission will be in favor of continuing and having a second phase. But of course, now it's too premature and too early to say that this will happen. At the moment, we're implementing the projects we have, and we are in contact with a lot of diaspora organizations on these capacity building journeys that we have in the micro projects. So I wanted to ask if you have any questions so far, and if you would like maybe to introduce yourself in the chat so that I understand from where do you come, in the sense that where your organizations are active. That would help me to understand how to continue my presentation. So if you want, you just can quickly write in the chat where is the country where you do have activities, what kind of activities, is it integration, development, so that I can look also in the chat and understand the target audience as well.
Let me just translate it to audience. Друзі, зараз прохання від нашої спікерки написати, з якої ви країни, власне, чим ви займаєтесь, які у вас основні напрямки діяльності, для того, щоб ми могли трошки познайомитися між собою. Я буду особисто дуже вдячний, якщо кожен з вас також не напише країна, можливо, навіть місто і напрямки діяльності, можливо, навіть назва організації.
Okay. Do you still see my screen?
Yeah.
Which slide? Because I'm not sure. Is it the 5th slide?
Yeah, 5th slide.
Great. So you'll write in the chat, then I will try to engage and see what type of activities you do deliver, and if you have experience in capacity building and managing grants and fundraising. But before that, let me make this short introduction on the criteria that we use. So basically, we do act on behalf of the donor, of the European Commission. We are the ICMPD organization, international organization with a long history of capacity building. We do reporting and audit and all the things like strong project management. We have experience in diaspora engagement for many, many years. So this facility that started in 2019 is not the first one dealing with diaspora. So we know a little bit this ecosystem. I would say that diaspora contribution to the development and the country, it's a very happy topic. So we always think that there is a lot of positivity there. And when we are receiving applications, for us, it's very important to see that that application will make an impact. So basically, what you see on the screen, the 4 criteria that we used in our calls, and Violeta and the partners and colleagues with whom we've been in touch know those criteria, and they fitted very well when they applied with the proposal. And most of the donors use the same criteria. I think the terminology of sustainability, coherence, relevance, you've heard a lot of times. ODC, for example, they use the same criteria plus efficiency and effectiveness. IOM is using 3 of these criteria. So usually implementing agencies and donors do very much focus on criteria that would reflect actually that the purpose of the proposal is in line with the priorities of the country or the organization and will have long-term results. So not only when the project ends, that's it. We don't know what will happen, but we want to see that some tools, some capacity will remain at the disposal of that diaspora organization. So let's go through these criteria. So we had 4. In our call for applications, we counted them as 25% each. So we have a selection committee, we have a grid point system. We do 2 steps. So first would be the eligibility to see if this is according to our mandate. Usually when you want to see what the donor or what the implementing agency want to see from a diaspora organization, you look at their strategies, their website, and their policy-making documents to understand if this is really relevant to their priorities. So when we counted and we graded an application that came through our system, we looked at those criteria. We made, we put grades. We have a selection committee from more people that are involved, including the commission. Then we select like a short list of proposals and we present them further to the commission. And then we decide which are the most feasible and the most realistic to implement. So we are talking about a duration of 1.5 years, 1 year. So that would be the duration of one project. And usually with from 5 up to 10 activities. So relevance, the first criteria. It looks very simple. We never thought that this could be a problem, like everybody knows that we should be relevant when we submit a proposal to a donor. We should have a very clear purpose, a mission. But sometimes the problem was that we've heard the needs of the organization, but we expected a little bit something different. We expected the need of the people the organization serve, if you see the difference. So of course, an organization like a small diaspora organization at the beginning will need staff costs, will need equipment, buildings, premises, renovation, printing, a lot of things. But as a donor or as an implementing agency, those things are not exactly relevant to the change that we want to make. So basically the European Commission, in our case, in the EUDiF case, wants to fund a project which is related to the development of the country of heritage, yeah, in this case, Ukraine, to make sure that this is a priority for Ukraine. So this is not like on the 10th place on their agenda. And it's also very crucial to make a change for the problem they have. So under the relevance criteria, we had a few chapters, small ones, so we don't expect PhDs and essays there. We just expect that the applicant will write the needs. For example, there is a problem. You identify a problem, yeah? Let's have an example. We want to increase the entrepreneurial spirit of local of a local municipality or a local village, like from a village in Ukraine, yeah, to see how they can have innovative businesses, ideas, how to promote business at local level. So you identify the niche, you see what is the target sector, you say what is the problem. For example, there is insufficient knowledge about business, need for consultancy, for mentorship, I don't know, there is a lack of capacity to innovate. The system is very bureaucratic. So you list a few needs. Then when I'm in the committee to select an application, I see very clear that here are the needs. Yeah, this is relevant to the country, is relevant to the institution that is the beneficiary, is relevant to the diaspora organization because they are going to bring something new in that regard. And this is in line with the mandate of the organization and of the donor. This is the first criteria. The second one would be coherence. So we name it coherence, but usually it could be named in other words, sometimes duplication, complementarity, synergies, like you have always a chapter in the application form where the donor or the implementing agency asks you to tell what other initiatives you're going to complement. Sometimes you apply for the same pocket, yeah, like the EU money or the IOM money or I don't know, UNDP, like other international, I'm just naming a few, or some private companies for support. And when they do evaluate the application, they see that there is a similar application already operating in that country or with similar diaspora organization. Then if you don't do that research before and you don't complement that, for me, that would be just a sign of duplication. And then under this criteria, you'll have 0, 5, not 25, how much you should have. So I would really, really suggest that when you target a problem that you would like to deal with through a capacity building, you have to be coherent and to avoid any duplications from other initiatives. Sustainability. This is the most complicated one. So usually sustainability is very used when we are talking about projects, reporting, capacity development, but I'm not sure if we do all have the same perception. What is sustainability? So here what we want to see. We want to see that the project ends in 1 year. For example, EUDiF will end in December this year. I want to make sure that when I leave that country or that diaspora organization, at least 1, 2, 3 years, they will use the tools, the capacity or the knowledge that we provided or the grant, yeah, that we delivered to them for a specific reason. So basically, if, for example, let's take a practical example, you want to increase, yeah, the same entrepreneurship, yeah, let's use the same example. You want to increase the knowledge in how to draft a marketing strategy, for example, in business. You want to offer some consultancy. You will come to EUDiF and you will say, I want a team of 5 diaspora experts to offer consultancy to a few young enthusiasts, how to open a business and to write a nice, productive, fruitful marketing strategy. You will say that you need 1 training. We will hire those diaspora professionals. They will deliver the trainings, and then that's it. I have no idea if those diaspora professionals will continue. If there is a tool after that, like a program, a manual, a leaflet, a pocket guide, you know, how to write a marketing strategy. There was no training of trainers, and you will see later that this is one of the most sustainable methods, for example. And then when I would receive such an application, I would put a big question mark. Like, okay, this is one-off training. I will deliver it. I will pay for the training. We will go organize some nice coffee breaks. But then what happens? Like, there is a small organization of Diaspora, for example, with 10 persons. They told us in the application that they need to increase the knowledge of those people. Yeah, let's say 10. Then they tell me they will do a training, and we remain with nothing after this training. Even if there are a series of trainings, what I would favor instead would be another proposal where you write down 5 activities. First is a training on theoretical part. Second would be how to write grants, for example, with the 3 or 4 persons from those 10. And then those persons are able to cascade and disseminate further those knowledge. And at the end of the project, you'll have also a training toolkit, how to write a grant or a marketing strategy for entrepreneurs. And then we do develop, we tailor it to the Ukrainian context. So it's not just because now information about how to write a marketing strategy is everywhere. You can find it on the internet. Thanks God we live in a world where this information is accessible. But to tailor it to the Ukrainian context, for example, to choose 2 priority industry sectors for Ukraine, what is interesting for youth in Ukraine to do as business and why we need a marketing strategy specifically for that region is different. This can be done by some diaspora professionals. Pitch me, and in the presentation, show to me how exactly this niche sector will be, so this gap will be filled in, and you are going to be sustainable for 2 years because you will use that pocket guide, you will use the knowledge of the staff because the staff might change. Now you have 10 persons in your organization, then 5 persons leave, they change the career, they change the countries, they change their interests. And then I'm not sure that the institutional memory of that organization will benefit from that. So this is how we call, this is what we call sustainability. And we need to make sure that a program is a complex one, not complex in the sense that many activities, but is one that is interlinked with the components. And impact, the last criteria that we use is the one usually that is related to quality, to innovation. I know that impact is a very vague word, so a lot of us are talking about impact now, and we want to make impact and we want to make a change. It's very difficult to measure. Even for us as an implementing agency, sometimes we don't know if after 1 year we did an impact, we changed the mindset, where this is very difficult to measure. That's why we are talking about a very clear concept. When you do apply, you write the objective, the specific objective, the output, and the outcome. And then from all this, there is a big change at the end, that you start from the training for those entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs from Ukraine on marketing strategy. You pilot 2 business ideas. You meet them with some potential donors or some potential businessmen that can, you pitch that idea. They are successful. Then you create an alumni network at the end, so that those enthusiastic people who created and had some marketing strategies at the end of the project can disseminate and replicate that further. That would be a sustainable proposal. So for us, that would be 100% a proposal that really brought an innovation, brought a change. And again, to open the brackets, innovation is a very complex term as well. For some countries, innovation is something that has never been piloted in that country or region. For us, innovation is more related to the, this cannot be new for the country, but maybe new for that village, maybe new for that sector, maybe new for a specific target group. For example, you invite youth, but not only youth, you invite women, because, I don't know, only 20% of the women in Ukraine, let's say, are the owner business, and they are limited in starting new businesses. So that would be some of the ideas that we usually consider when we do select. I want to stop here for a moment and ask if you have any questions. I will look into the chat so that I don't overwhelm you with my
we
monologue.
have a great representation here from different organizations and different countries.
Yeah, please. Where should I see it? So it's in the
chat.
Uh-huh.
Have you found out it?
I worked just a few times with Teams. For me, this is totally Chinese, and sometimes I don't know where to find the right button.
Let me assist you. At the top of your screen, when you found the bottom of the sharing your screencast, you also have bottom chat. Do you see it? It's like the third one on this period.
It doesn't appear.
But Diana, if you opened it on your web browser, so it can be different because I am with a web browser.
Yeah, it's different actually from what Danilo you showed me. For me, this panel bar is
in the bottom on the bottom of the page, or up on the
at the bottom. Yeah.
So you have a kind of chat, afficher la conversation. Show the conversation or something like this. You have people to see the list of participants, and on the left you have a kind of chat. If you go on the chat, you'll see the messages of our participants.
I see gallery, show details, and that's it. It doesn't appear on my screen. What? I see only
maybe
gallery.
Only?
Yeah. Gallery, raise hand, large gallery, show background effect, but I don't see any chat.
But maybe you have 3 points, and maybe you have additional features.
Yeah, I opened the 3 points. That's the idea, that I opened the.
You don't see conversation, something like this. Usually we have it. Danilo, maybe you can share your screen and.
I will make stop sharing.
Yeah.
Because I really want to know you a little bit and to make this tour de table.
Yeah, for sure.
So I stopped sharing.
Okay, and then have you seen my screen?
Yeah.
I see also some video, some camera on. Okay.
Yeah. Here is chat, and here is like some representatives.
Aha. So we have here Austria, Vienna, I see.
Dnipro, it's Ukraine, one of the largest cities.
Poland. Welcome, very nice to meet you. Such a
Switzerland.
Portfolio. Yes.
Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
I didn't wrote, but I am in Africa, so from Mali. You can count me also.
Also, we have a lot of representatives from Poland. There are Warsaw, Krakow, Wrocław.
From different cities, okay.
From different cities, yeah. Yeah, a lot of Ukrainian representatives.
Oh my God, so diverse. You also shared links, yes. Okay, because I would really love to follow up and see what your organizations are doing, and maybe to update our contact list. Violetta knows in the past we organized diaspora consultations. We don't organize them anymore, but we have a very large contact list, and also we can offer some visibility, like to put it in our list, to offer some practice form. So I would really love to introduce those data in our database, because it seems that this is a very varied representation. Munich also, I see. Welcome to everybody. I really hope I didn't skip anybody, but for me it's a real pleasure. And thank you so much for switching off your on your cameras. That's
Diana,
what you can think, when you see the face.
If it will be suitable for you, I can share my screen like your presentation, and you will be free to say what you want.
Okay. That would be nice. Yes.
Okay.
Because then I can
just
engage.
a few moments.
I wanted also to ask, like, your organizations, because the chat was really small, I saw only the location. So it's basically the whole Europe, like big countries from Europe. And especially now, I presume that you are very active on the spot. But I wanted to ask, just to raise a hand if your activity is more related to integration of migrants and like Ukrainians abroad, or development. So for me, that would be a nice insight to understand, because the applications differ also from one topic to another. So just if you can follow up, and at some point I will look into those, because a lot of organizations which are working with development sector, they do partner with different kind of actors. Those who are working with integration, they are more humanitarian aid focused, so they need other type of applications. I would be very grateful.
Є можливість просигналізувати, з якого типу організації ви є, то ви можете це зробити в чаті. Діані так буде зручніше і краще зрозуміти, в якому напрямку рухатись. I'm just made a little sensitive.
I understand a bit. There are some similar words that I could take over. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't say that you are from Moldova, so you are like close to Ukraine.
Very close. Very close.
Thank you.
Have you seen my screen?
Yeah, I do. So we remained at the slide with the modus operandi, so how we do select the applications. As I said, these are our criteria. More or less, they are the same criteria for other organizations, but I'm not going to represent others. So this is our procedure, to be very clear on that. And I wanted to ask you if you have any immediate questions on the criteria, if something is unclear, or for example, you have sometimes difficulties in understanding those criteria that are placed by donor or implementing agency, because now I can maybe take up some questions so that we make it more interactive. So if you have any question, raise your hand and just speak it loudly. I can take it. If not, then I can continue.
Друзі, якщо у вас є питання по критеріям відбору до цієї організації, можна зараз спокійно задати. Ви можете написати, можете українською задати. Ми спробуємо це перевести до нашої спікерів для того, щоб краще зрозуміти, на що звертати увагу при подачі заявок. Дайте знати, якщо у вас є таке питання. So I think that we can continue.
Okay, then we can go to the next slide. Thanks, Danila, for your help. So here the information is very small, so I don't want to bore you with the information. I will just present it very shortly. What type of support we do offer, so what means capacity building and what is eligible for us and for the donors that are running projects with diaspora engagement focus. So there are a few categories. So we do offer technical support. When we say technical support, it doesn't mean equipment, renovation of the building. So we do not fund those kind of software, hardware, equipment, renovation, staff costs. We don't fund such things. We offer technical support, and this would mean the following. This could be some guidance and expertise to develop strategic documents. For example, your organization would come and say, I did a skills auditing. In my organization, we don't know how to communicate. We do a lot of things. We did a lot during COVID. We did a lot after the conflict started in February, but we don't know how to communicate that. We don't have a communication officer, or we don't have the abilities to do so. So I need a training on communication. The first thing, I would need a communication strategy. So that developing a communication strategy is one of the examples that we can offer as support. as a part of capacity building. But of course, again, if we are back to that sustainability criteria, if you recall, it's important not to deliver only one tool, but also to have conceptualized it in a way that it is piloted also. So, okay, we hire some experts who will help you with drafting a communication strategy for your organization, how to use social media, how to make it visible, how to do catchy campaigns. But then I want to make sure that it's just, I didn't pay for one strategy that you will use only 1 month and that's it. I want to make sure that this strategy will be piloted. You have people who are able to apply and you have staff for that. So basically, this is the sustainability and relevance criteria that you fill in when you propose such a thing. But here it's not only a strategy. It could be a plan, a policy document, I don't know, an amendment to a law, some guidelines, manual, everything which deals with strategic documents in a specific area. That could be a type of the technical support that you can ask, and it's really a capacity building classic exercise. Second, we offer knowledge transfer events. So I think this is the most known. Trainings, workshops, seminar, peer exchange, more complex things like coaching, mentoring, individual mentoring, group mentoring, like different type of a series of workshops, if you can say. One thing, it's important that you don't do it as a one-off training. So to make sure that, for example, you propose a training, but then I would really appreciate if you include in your program of activities also training of trainers. Because then I'm sure that if half of your staff will leave, then there are a few people that can use those knowledge and disseminate further. So if you want to convince a donor that you will be sustainable, then training of trainers or a series of workshops or a pocket, a guideline after that training will make sense to have a longer result than short-term results. The third category would be conducting assessments and research. Again, it's not about paying a research. It's about doing a research for a specific purpose. For example, if you apply and you write in the application, I don't know how many diaspora, highly skilled diaspora from Ukraine I have in Poland. We have some data of the migrants, but we don't know how many are highly skilled migrants and who are able to share their expertise back with Ukraine. For example, in a post-conflict, post-crisis recovery of the country, yeah? And you want to do a profiling, you want to do an exercise to do a research. For that, that would be eligible. But again, I would need to do an exercise to understand that in your proposal, you want a needs assessment. So first of all, you ask the needs. You do interviews, you launch surveys, you ask people what they need. You ask ministries in Ukraine, what kind of expertise do you need, so that we see how many diaspora migrants from Ukraine we have highly skilled in Poland. Then I want to make sure that the data of this survey will be collected in a proper way and that I'm going to use those data. Who is going to use? The diaspora office, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, who exactly? So I need to see that linkage in your application when I do the evaluation, that when you propose a seminar on profiling or a research, then there is always a webinar or a seminar, sorry for that, where you can pilot this profiling, you can use those data, and this data can remain and can be updated afterwards by that diaspora organization or by that institution. For example, we have received in the past an application from Ukraine. They wanted to profile academic diaspora, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But we couldn't understand what was the reasoning, like the rationality. Like they want to profile the academic diaspora to do what exactly? They wanted to use it together with the government. Is government open to work with them in giving them some data? So this is also important, because if there is no openness from the public institution back in the country, and this is a huge profiling exercise, then there will be a no. So basically, it wouldn't work like just to pay for profiling exercise, but to make sure that this profiling exercise is a part of a process. Another type of support we offer is conduct visibility and communication activities. We can also think about awareness campaigns, visibility materials, some media engagement. But again, this should be linked, not that we just print some leaflets and disseminate them about one thing. Let's say we want to do some, I don't know, leaflets about the rights of the migrants and diaspora in Poland, so that they understand where they can ask for support. Okay, we will print those leaflets, we will disseminate them, but then what happens? The project ends, the budget is not enough to continue printing for many years, because usually it's 1, 2, maximum 3 years. Then what happens with those leaflets? Who will update them? Will they be disseminated with some informative and info note sessions? Will be organized some focus group after that? So always when there is such a proposal on awareness campaign, visibility, there should be some capacity building behind. And the last, I think, on my screen is the facilitation of networking and partnership. This is the most complex one. We would like to work with some big networks. For example, Global Ukraine would be a great example. Yeah, we work with a big representation of diaspora in Europe, for example, to enhance cooperation among partners, to fundraise, to create partnerships. I know it sounds very philosophical, but in the same time, when you have such a proposal, you have to make sure first that your diaspora is not fragmented, and you will not have challenges to put at the same round table organizations. Secondly, you have to make sure that you have the contacts from all, let's say, a network. I'm not talking about Global Ukraine now, but in general, when I'm working with a network, I want to make sure that it's real in that country, to gather them and to have a consensus and easy to work. Even if this is 1 year, 2 years, but building networks and partnership, it's a difficult process. It's two-way street, so it's a long journey. It's not an event. You do a nice conference and a concert and you are there. You need more. So for that, you will need an activity, a meeting, creating a memorandum of understanding, a regulation, I don't know, a consortium, like different kinds of collaboration documents that you need to provide during this action. So that would be a yes if you come with a very long plan. For example, we had an application coming from a network of, it was a country from Asia. I don't remember the country, but I remember that they were based in Sweden, and only in Sweden there were 230 organizations from that country, and they wanted to build a network. Okay, for us to gather 230 organizations, not to skip anyone, not to to leave somebody aside or neglect it, we needed to make sure that we bring all of them. So for that reason, it was too ambitious for our mandate. We thought that it's a difficult process and you need to have prerequisites for that. You need to have some building blocks, not only just because the intention was really great, but when you go into the realistic plan, it doesn't work. Okay, Danilo, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, it's basically repeating the same because it's another mechanism. So the previous slide was on the type of support we offer under the Capacity Development Lab. So this is with diaspora organization, if you remember. This one deals with diaspora professionals, individuals. So here we have two types where we can engage and two types of applications. So one is core knowledge transfer activities. For example, you can hire a diaspora professional to share some expertise in the field of heritage tourism, or you can assign that diaspora professional to draft a strategy on heritage tourism for that country. For example, we have one intervention in Moldova. We hired 2 diaspora from Moldova. Both of them are experts in heritage tourism, but now based in Sweden. And they said, you cannot imagine how Sweden sells their cultural heritage sites. Like 60% of the tourism is basically coming from the cultural heritage. In Moldova, you have very nice places, but you don't know how to sell them. So let's make a process where we share with you the examples. We do a training, we do a workshop, we develop a strategy, we do a concept note, we do an action plan, and then all together will be tools for you so that you can follow the Swedish model of heritage tourism. So that would be one of the actions and of the applications that we consider innovative, relevant, and very concrete. Like really, in 1 year, you develop a strategy, a plan, you do 3 trainings, and it's quite feasible. It's with a small budget, it shouldn't be millions. And you really can do this with 2 people, 2 diaspora professionals that are very enthusiastic and skilled about that. So here you see 2 possibilities. Either they organize knowledge transfer events, or they are assigned at the host institution. You can work with Minister of Culture for Heritage Tourism or Minister of Economy if this is entrepreneurship, for example. Okay, with the type of support, I think I'm done. I would like to continue with the next slide. Yeah, tips and tricks. Again, if you have any questions on the 2 modules that I presented, I'll be happy to answer. Just to make sure that I didn't...
Друзі, якщо у вас є питання, ви можете задавати. Механізм той самий. Ви можете включати мікрофон, можете піднімати руку, можете писати в чаті. Дайте знати, якщо у вас є питання.
Danilo, I would kindly ask you if there is any question in the chat and I don't see it because I present just, maybe there is a written question and I don't see it. I would kindly ask you to raise it for me so that I can...
Yeah, for sure.
Good. So, tips and tricks. Imagine you have a call. You have to submit an application. Usually our calls were running for 2 months, so very little. You don't have a lot of time, but in that time you have to write an application, to find partners, to do a consortium if needed, to do the budget maybe. So in 2 months, it's really difficult sometimes to put together a good proposal. So there are some of the tips that I gathered. After we launched the calls, we received a lot of questions like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by this? And then what is different, I think, with our organization, we don't launch the call and we do the proposals ourselves. And then we implement. We say like, look, we did a proposal, like we think is the best. What we do, we have 3 stages. We have pre-implementation, implementation, and post-implementation. In the pre-implementation phase, we do meet many times with applicant and we develop together the fish. So basically what we do, we ask to complete a simple form. Well, simple in the sense that it's not like a PhD, it's just a 5-page document where they write down the main needs and proposed activities. They submit it online. We receive it, we evaluate it, and if this is feasible, innovative, and good for the implementation, then we launch that, we approve it with the commission, and we do an elaborated action fish. So this program of activity, sustainability, risk management, exit strategy, all of these things, we are doing them together with the applicant. We don't leave them alone in that process. I think that's different. And also we do the budget. So doing a budget for the audit and all these things, it's very difficult sometimes for diaspora organizations. They might not have the skills, they might not have the capacities to do so. So we do the budget on ourselves and we do implement that so that it's not on the shoulder of the organization. And in this implementation process, we saw some lessons learned. What helped, what didn't help the applicants. So here you see a few.
Diana, I'm sorry for interrupting you. We have one question from the chat.
Oh, please, I'm happy to take it on board.
So the question is, where can we find out this application form?
I can show an application form at the end, but also I can send it to you. So it's the practice form that we used. please note that we don't have open calls for now. So at the moment we close the open calls, but for future calls in general and for other donors, you can find and use that practice form. So I will show you at the end, and then I can share it with Danilo so that he can share it with you. So it's a simple form. We call it practice form. We do also a PDF before. I think I've shared it with you, Danilo, before the workshop. Yeah, so maybe what I would suggest, so that we take it up very practically, maybe you stop sharing the presentation and share that practice form, because in this case I can explain step by step.
Yeah, let me a few moments.
Yeah. And from whom is coming this question? I don't see the chat.
If you can see me, Diana, it's from
Anna.
Anna, yeah.
Okay, Anna Lysenko. Yes, I see your name on the screen. Very nice to meet you, and thank you so much for the question. I will try to go through the practice form now so that you see. Sorry for the noise outside. Again, we don't have open calls now, but in general, this is the practice form that we used in all the 3 calls. The submission of the application were online. So the person would submit online, yeah. But we will give before this form, which is exactly from the online form. So it's not a complex document at all. So basically, the first section, I didn't put there the table, but when we ask, tell us about you, it's a section where we ask your data, your name, and the mandate of your organization. So basically what you do. And please make have a look. All the chapters have a limit of characters. So you cannot write long essays there. It's very concise. For example, there is 400 characters. Yeah, it's just a paragraph. You don't have to write complex documents. You have to just be very concise and to explain to us or to the implementing agency to whom you apply, what is your mandate, what is the goal of your organization, in which sector you do work, and what are the needs. Then there is the second section, what diaspora expertise do you seek? And then you put the needs, if you remember the criteria of relevance. So you put the needs. For example, we would need, I don't know, language skills, communication skills for our organization, for professionalization. You write the needs. It should be 1, 2, 3, like 1-2 sentences, really, not more. Then there is a general objective, a specific objective. Usually it's 1 general objective and 3 or 4 specific objectives, not more. It's difficult to deal with applications that have 10 specific objectives, so they're not feasible, I would say, for 1-2 year implementation. There is the geographic scope and challenges and risks. So this is the first section where you basically explain to us what is the problem that you want to, where you want to fill a gap. So I think I'm coming back and repeating myself that you don't have to tell me the needs of your organization. You have to tell me the needs of the people you serve. You provide some services. What exactly do you need and what would be the target for that? Then there is a section which details the main features of the action. So you see here, let's go on details. Select the priority sector. For example, you want to work, I don't know, education, environment. There is a tick box in the online form. Here is just the question. What type of support you do want? Again, you want to develop strategy, you want to organize a knowledge. What exactly? You just tick the box. Then on the second page, Danilo, if you can scroll down, there is the program of activities. You know, activity 1, 2, 3, for example. And here you have to describe your activity, the duration in weeks, expected result. I want to organize a training of trainers on communication for my organization. You describe why. You say that this TOT can be done during 2 weeks on site, for example, in Vienna. I don't know, Anna, from where you are. I missed.
We are from Switzerland.
from Switzerland. For example, you would like to enhance the capacities of your organization acting in Switzerland. I want the training to take place in Switzerland with 2 experts, and I expect after that that 5 of my staff or 10 persons from my staff of my organization will receive certificates about the training on communication. So this is one activity. The second would be to develop a toolkit or a communication strategy for your organization. And the third would be to create a partnership with a communication agency, I don't know, in Switzerland that will promote our results. I'm just like very generic now, but that would be a flow that you can follow. Then explain how the activities you propose match your organization priorities. So I'm looking at this question when I want to grade the criteria of relevance. And then it's important that you complement. You remember the criteria of coherence. We believe that requesting authorities should have a leading role. So there is the ownership thing I forgot to mention, but it's really, really important. So I want to make sure that your organization is there in the driving seat, not somebody there and I'm coming as an international, like with expertise. I'm doing the work and then you remain with like, you have to learn by doing. So I want to guide you, to assist you, to be there. So this is the type of the guidance that we offer. We don't replace the person. We don't replace the staff. We want to be there to see that you do this communication strategy together with us so that next time you know how to update it. In 2 years, it will be outdated. Now Twitter and Facebook is the most common social media tool, but maybe in 3 years, we will have a total different picture. So I need to make sure that the communication strategy that I'm requesting now to the donor could be updated by my staff. But how? They should have capacities. How they should have the capacity? By trainings. How to deliver the trainings? With a training tool. How to use the training tool? Make it in different languages so it's feasible to be replicated. So here, make sure that you make a difference between the outputs and outcomes. I know sometimes this is a jargon from the project management cycle, but you know the difference. The output would be the product, the deliverable if you want, and the outcome would be the result. Let me give you an example. Yeah, using the same. The communication strategy that I'm going to deliver within this action for your organization in Switzerland will be the output, the product. The increased capacities and knowledge how to communicate about diaspora activities in Switzerland will be the outcome. And the impact would be that the diaspora organization is visible and they make an impact during a post-crisis rebuilding process of Ukraine, for example. So you can follow this output, outcome, and impact, and to make the link between them. And then if you go a little bit down, yeah, if you worked with diaspora in the past, but this is like for governments. The question is for governments, if they want to work with the organization, if you work with others, and if you want to propose some partners. So yeah, it's not difficult. It's just a form. At first glance is like really, but then we receive a lot of applications which are very ambitious. For example, they would request, we want to draft a diaspora strategy, diaspora engagement strategy in 6 months. It's not feasible at all. So I will look at all those criteria. For me, that application will not be feasible at all. You cannot make a strategy in 6 months, even if I hire an expert, an international one. Do you have the government on board? Do they want this strategy? How you will endorse it? Okay, it's coming from a diaspora organization. You are very active. We really welcome that. But then how to make sure that this strategy is needed and is a priority for Ukraine, for example, or that you want this in 1 year or another. So the feasibility is also very important. Yeah, there is a question, I see.
Yeah, I have like one question. So Diana, can you share with us what are the common mistakes that diaspora organizations usually do in these application forms? What are like the common mistakes? when you see them, you think, oh my God, again.
Yeah. Let's come back to the presentation, and then I can, there is one slide that I wanted to show you. So, yeah, feasibility, niche, leadership. Yeah, you can go a little bit down. One more slide. There is one slide with the indicator. I want to show you and to start from that.
I think that
but let's, I can start from this one. Just keep this slide and I will start to share what I think are the common mistakes. So first of all, usually I don't see a lot a risk management strategy in the project. They write a project, it looks really great, but I don't have like, okay, and if this will not happen, what is your contingency? Do you do like the risk management? It's very important. I would advise a phasing out approach. So you see here on the screen, it has 3 phases. So basically when you write an application, it's just this text could be enough, you know, to understand that you really thought about that. So you have 3 types of risks: low, high, medium. If the risk is low, you don't have to do anything. If the risk is medium or high, you have to have a contingency. It means that, for example, you want to do this communication strategy, but the flow of your staff in organization is like, it's fluctuant. So you have people working just for 2-3 months, or they don't have this as a permanent job, or they have. This is a risk for your organization. Okay, we will deliver the training, we will provide you a communication strategy, but then with 3 people in your organization, how you can make sure that what is the risk? So you put there 3-4 risks that you thought about, and you put a risk management approach. Like, I want to do a phasing down. I do the activities, and when you deliver a training, the next training will be delivered already by my staff to other staff to make sure that I cascade those knowledge. Yeah, for me, that would be okay. The person thought about the phasing down. Then the phasing out, you withdraw. I mean, as a donor or an implementing agency, you should be there until you handle those tools and those possibilities. But I don't have to be there to implement for you. So basically, this is a phasing out. So the risk management strategy would be very important, and to provide me some alternative solutions. For example, with COVID, we received a lot of applications from Africa talking about trainings on site, because they have a bad internet connection. The people do not have laptops, so they want deployments on site. There were countries with very high risks, like you can't travel there, especially during COVID, because of health, because of a lot of things. We are not able to deliver on site. What we ask them, okay, have you assessed that risk? Can you do that online? Do you have a small strategy, at least, how to do online instead of on site? If so, then I would really consider that as a good point and not as a mistake. Another, if you can move to another slide, I have an indicator thing that I want to share with you.
This one? Or
no, the next one, I think.
I'm
or maybe it's not in the presentation, maybe I edit it afterwards. Don't worry, I will open mine.
Okay.
I will just want to show, I will not share the screen, I will just speak it loudly. So there is an example. If we wish to measure the language skills, for example, your organization want to, I don't know, they want to teach a new language, for example, yeah, in Poland, or I don't know, let's say language skills by a group of beneficiaries. There are 2 types of indicators that I receive as a result. For example, 20 people have attended the training course. If we have, or I don't know, a reach of 15 people, 50 people, yeah, attended the training, so we are good. For me, that would not be a good indicator. So in this case, I would suggest that you put an indicator, at least 80% of the participant of the training on language skills have passed the final test. That would be a good indicator. The fact that I organized the training for 50 persons, it's not enough for me to understand that this will last. You know, this type of examples. Third one is it's not niche. So in a lot of cases, we receive like very large scale proposals. We want to make equality between women and men. We want to solve this gender. We want to protect children. Okay, try to do it as niche as possible and as feasible as possible. In 1 year, you can do a lot of things, but you cannot change the mentality, for example. And if you come with a proposal which is supposed to change a law or a mentality in a country, then it will be difficult for me to consider it feasible. Another one, there is no exit strategy usually. So the people would think about now, I want now some money, I don't know, to do some mentoring on, I don't know which sector, let's say education, for example, in Ukraine. But what will happen in 1 year after this proposal will be? So it's something that deals with the feasibility, and the project should follow the SMART indicators. I think you already know about the SMART very well. So I insist on that. Not all the applications that we received, like half of them, were not SMART in sense of the indicators, not SMART as a proposal. We're like great proposals like how to digitalize the services, the consular services, with the Ministry of Digitalization in Ukraine, the research ministry, I think you have it. But we couldn't understand like which exact services, what type of automatization we will do. Is it needed? Okay, we will update the data, but do they have a software afterwards to use the data? Or they want a new curriculum? Okay, we want a new curriculum, but are you going to endorse that curriculum? Because at the university, for example, you need, I don't know, 1 or 2 years to validate a new curriculum. So when this kind of proposals come with very big ideas, for us this is unfeasible. Just we don't see the niche, like the small idea that you have behind, and it can be very concrete, very structured and very concise. As ambitious as you are, as more difficult it is to implement. So that would be the third thing I would say. And the fourth would be usually, especially for small organizations, when they do apply, they're very limited in staff. So they have 3 persons, who are doing the whole work, the fundraising, the grant, the communication, and everything. I know because I'm also in touch with Moldovan diaspora in Belgium, so I know how it works. A lot of them are working apart from their basic job they have, they volunteer. And when we receive such applications from the organizations that have 3 staff and they did not do any skills auditing before that, and they want capacity building, but we are not sure that the staff will remain there, and there will be like, the staff costs are usually paid by projects, and then the project ends, they will go to another project, but you can't survive just on grants. So sometimes we see that in the application, they come directly with this approach that we need the grant to continue the contract, and then we need the grant to continue. For long term, this doesn't work, and from the beginning, we will not accept such an application. Another terminology, the log frame, like this story of output, outcome, impact, we do insist very much on that. We're very prescriptive here, and usually the implementing agency keep that language, and they want to see the link between the specific objective, the model, the activity. There is no link between them sometimes. There is a big scope. For example, we want to reach 100 women and to teach them how to start businesses in Ukraine. Okay, but then the specific objective would be to increase capacities, and in the program of activity to pay the staff of the organization to find the donor, to find the mentors. We don't see the link between that, so we have to make sure there is a link between that. There is only a small part that I can share in 10 minutes, so it's difficult to put the whole story in such a short time frame, but this is mostly the most common challenges that we see when we receive applications.
That is nice. just your tips and also about smart system. It's really important to know when you make this application form, to remember that you are not writing a philosophical poem or something like that. That you have to write specific goals, specific aims.
Yeah, I want to open the floor for questions, Danilo, if the people can raise their questions so that I can also offer some short answers. Then I can follow up with some materials that I will share with you so that you can disseminate.
Yeah, we have two questions. First, from Olga, a question. Is there a possibility to improve the application if the original one includes some mistakes and play again?
Yeah, so that's I was saying that for the pre-implementation phase, that's the idea. When you submit an application and we think the idea is great, but there are some gaps there, we work very much with the partner in the pre-implementation phase. So that was our style of working. We do not receive an application, then we close it and say, sorry, no. Usually when there is an application with a very good potential, in the pre-implementation phase, we meet the partner and we elaborate more. We ask for more information. And we had two scenarios in this case. One would be that the partner, the applicant, is not able to provide further. They don't know how to do it. And when we ask different information, they don't provide us. Or there are partners who are very quick and they start to understand that, oh, we pitch them. We really have a very good idea. Let's convince them that this idea is feasible, and then they can change something, because you have 2 months for application, then you have a few months to develop the action fact sheet. The priorities might change. Now you want to provide help to children in half a year, so we also are flexible with that, like how we work in our calls. I'm not saying about future calls. For now, we don't have them, but in the previous calls we worked like that. There was a possibility to have a short answer. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the close connected question to your previous answer. Anna Lysenko for Ukraine, Switzerland. How we can be informed when you are opening the next round?
I will tell you how we did the reach last time. We have a big system of data, a list of contacts for the organizations, usually. That's why I'm saying that it would be really nice if you can send me your data so that I can include it in your list. Because if I include your data in our contact list, then all the information coming from us will reach you. We send emails, we send letters, sometimes to the governments, so that they know and can be in touch with some diaspora organization. We tweet it. We put it on our LinkedIn. We sent newsletters. So the newsletters are on quarterly basis. And usually when there is a call, last time we reached, I think, 1,000 people. So basically it was a big reach. We sent it to everybody we could. Again, but we received fewer applications than we thought. So we do this reach. Again, if you want to be in contact with us, I will leave my email. I will look for your data. As much as you would like to share them, like your website, for example, your Facebook page, your contacts, the focal point from your organization, the manager, then we include it in the list of contacts. And whenever there is a call or a diaspora consultation or an event, we inform them by email and also by different social means. And the next year, not the next, like in the we plan an edition of a future forum. It's a big global event. The last 2 have been done online. I will send you, Danilo, the link so that the people look and see, because it's a 3-day event where everybody can participate with different topics. We had also a workshop for capacity development, like the one I delivered now. So different kind of capacity building interventions we have. You can be informed about that. So I will leave you my email so that you can give me that data. I include it in your contact, and then we can bilaterally or in a group discuss further.
I think that you have unusual opportunity to share your project with Diana and receive some very suitable and useful tips for it. Maybe someone else have their questions. Ви так само можете написати українською питання або задати українською. Це не є проблемою. Поки в нас є трошки часу. To make this time as much productive as we can.
Yeah.
I see that someone is writing, is typing question. Okay. Василь Килиняк. How I can know diaspora organization in Italy? Oh, pretty good question.
Diaspora organizations from Italy, from other countries?
Yeah, I think that in Italy, that is located in Italy.
But from which country? Like diaspora from which countries?
Василю, ви маєте на увазі організацію українців в Італії чи інші діаспори в Італії? Ви можете мікрофон включити, якщо вам зручно, або написати.
Я хочу знати просто, можна дізнатися перелік організацій, які діаспори в Італії, і як вони співпрацюють з цими міжнародними вже там європейськими організаціями, який спосіб співпраці тут.
Окей, різні організації, правильно? Не тільки українська.
Так, не тільки українські, не думаю, що тут українських багато зареєстровані, але принаймні вони співпрацюють в цій сфері з Європарламентом, з європейськими інститутами. Але, власне, як ви, європейські структури на їхні фонди, також і які організації діаспорні вже є, якщо є така можливість зараз мати інформацію. Де принаймні знайти цю інформацію?
Окей. Diana, the question is, how can Vasil find out the information about other diasporas in Italy that applied into EU funds?
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm more aware about the diaspora organizations in Belgium. I'm not very aware about the organizations in Italy, but there is one information I can share with you. In general, Italy is a very active member state. Like Poland, Italy, France, Germany, these are the states that are really active with diaspora engagement, and they offer a lot of funding bilaterally, not through the European Commission, but bilaterally. They have different organizations delivering support. So maybe I can look into the EU member states and find out an Italy network, because there is one. And I can share with you, Danilo, so that you can share further with Vasily, or you can write me on my email, and I can look for some data, because as of now, so basically for us in our contact list, I can look and see, but I would rather look to the networks from Italy that are really active, in the sense that what Italy gives as funds as well, because they're very friendly with diaspora organizations from all over the world, like France as well, Germany, Portugal as well. So these are some of the countries that can really fund and help bilaterally and be like a good donor. So I will look into that. Danilo or Vasily, you can follow up with me, and I will try to find some data.
Thank you, Vasil, for a question. And Violeta, your question is?
I was just wondering about the application that had impressed you the most, in good side or in bad side, I don't know. Maybe some.
Yeah, I have a top actually. I know it's not very correct to say, what is the best application, but we had really, really nice applications that we could not implement, but they were very nice. So at the moment we have 15 applications. There is one on green solutions. So there is a local authority in Philippines, in Palawan, that wanted a diaspora to draft a curriculum how to protect the environment, because there is no such curriculum in the university. So that was a great program of activities developed by them. There was an application coming from a college in the field of, they wanted to recycle the plastic. So they wanted to teach and to do dual learning, you know, to have the stagiaire and the practice at the university, to bring international experts and diaspora, to teach them from Netherlands, to teach them how to recycle plastic in a country where this is not done yet. So it's a country with, I will not say the name, but that was like a great idea. There was an idea of developing a festival, so to actually to organize a festival with heritage tourism within a very nice route, which would be the first time for that country to use that that element. Like they never used it before, and they don't know how to promote storytelling, for example. That was a really nice example, and we are going to start it in Sierra Leone. We started last month, but we are going to start the operational phase. There are a lot of great ideas. There was one from Georgia, I think, like with woman empowerment and diaspora inspirational testimonies, that so the diaspora business leaders would help women back in the country to develop innovative businesses. So a lot of ideas were great. Not all of them were eligible, unfortunately, because we have a global budget and it's limited. We have to cover like all the countries and all the regions. But yeah, the people are very creative.
Yes. Great.
Супер.
Yeah, it's already dark and I should switch on the light. Yes.
Друзі, якщо у вас є якісь питання, то ви ще можете їх задавати, писати в чаті. Does anybody have some questions for our speaker? Якщо ні, будемо дякувати. If no one have questions.
Either everything is clear or nothing is clear, you know. There are
the two ways, you know, to express it. Mulțumesc foarte mult, Diana. It was like pretty good. Aceasta a fost informativă, foarte
Oh, your Romanian is great. Merci mult.
Thanks a lot for your participation, for your inputs in this course for Ukrainian diaspora organizations. And I think it will be useful and suitable information for our community organizations. And someone also asking, can you share your contacts in the chat, please?
Yeah, but again, I don't know how to write it in the chat. So
okay, I will share your
yeah, you have my email. You can share it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I will share it in a few moments.
Thank you so much for your passion and for your questions. I hope it was useful and you saw that another perspective, you know, from the other side when the people evaluate those applications. It's really sometimes heartbreaking when we receive like good applications, but we cannot fund. But yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Diana, and have a nice weekend. We are ready for, really almost every weekend hoping about. Have a nice evening.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. And thank you
Yes.
so much for inviting me and for having me. Thank you so
And
much.
looking forward to your forum. Let's
Yes.
hope to have the opportunity to meet.
Yes, keep an eye on the website. You will see news. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Buonasera. Arrivederci. Добраніч всім.